This constitutes a security hazard.
Well, this is the first security hazard mini that I have needed to keep a towel on standby for. Hello everyone, welcome to a little bit of a special security hazard mini today. We are taking a look at the Vivid Imaginations Stingray playset from, I want to say 2001, 2002 maybe. And obviously this thing has quite a special play feature, which is why I have a large container of water in front of me, because it floats and it goes along in the water under its own propeller. So this thing has a wind-up mechanism inside, which is it's nearly 25 years old, and, you know, basically over the years, because it has been submerged in water in the past, because this is a toy that I had in my childhood, and believe me, I used it, the inner mechanism has sort of rusted away a little bit. And because of that, the mechanism is a little bit cantankerous. It doesn't want to cooperate all the time, but I think I've just about managed to get it working, so let's give it a go today. Off it goes, pootling along, very slowly. Not exactly the high speeds that Stingray is well known for, but as you can see, it is moving along under its own steam and it is floating in the water. I mean, come on. You can't ask for much better than that from a Stingray toy, can you? It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Let's see if we can get it going again. It's supposed to sort of, I think there's meant to be sort of a button that it's sort of like, you can sort of press it and release it, and that's when it starts going. But that doesn't work anymore, and you just sort of have to wind it up and let it go when it's sort of ready. You know, it still moves. It's still working pretty well, considering, as I say, I opened this thing up earlier and it was just, so much of it was really rusty and, like, just about holding together. So I certainly don't plan on doing this very often, but I thought, well, for a security hazard mini, we really need to test out all the features, don't we? Yeah, so as I say, this is the one that I had as a kid. Absolutely loved it. It you know, went in the bath many times, and as a result of that, that's why it's not in the best condition. But I have to say, otherwise it's held up pretty well. Some of the plastic colouring has faded over the years. That may also be to do with being in the water before, but otherwise, you know, there's other bits like this yellow and the darker blue that still stands out really nicely. I have to say, I really do like the overall colour scheme on this. I also love the shape of it. I think they've captured Stingray's sleekness in a way that maybe things like the Matchbox playset from a few years previous, it's a bit bulkier, it's a bit chunkier, whereas this one is kind of small and sleek and kind of very just very nice to look at, which, you know, is a benefit, because obviously nowadays this thing doesn't go around in the water so much. It just sits on my shelf looking pretty, and I have to say it does a good job of that. But yeah, I think they've got, you know, enough of the detail here. It's not necessarily the most screen accurate thing in the world. Things like the aqua sprites at the back are just kind of moulded in solid, you know, silver. You know, nothing too much to say about that. There's no underside detailing, no lettering, no skids, nothing like that. It is just smooth, which obviously helps it move along in the water. The Rate Master at the back is clear plastic, and inside that's what houses the propeller. So that's very good, very clever. Now, as far as other play features are concerned, it has a couple of Sting missiles which are loaded in the front, and of course it's got a button on the top which releases the missile. So how about we give that a try here now? Let's press that. Oh yes, very nice. It's a very, it's a powerful missile ejection system. I love the way it loads very simply. You just pop it in the front and it clicks into place. That all is still working very, very nicely indeed, as you can see. So that's great. Very happy with that. The Sting missiles themselves are, nothing too fancy. They are just simple black torpedoes with some sort of rocket fins at the end, but otherwise, they're just there to serve their purpose. You may not appreciate having the missiles sticking out all the time, but honestly, I don't mind it. They're black, so you don't really notice. But I think that's absolutely fine. The periscope is just fixed in place. It doesn't twist or go up and down or anything like that. It is just there, but it is made of a slightly flexible plastic so that it doesn't snap off or anything like that. It's able to just kind of sit there and withstand a bit of rough play from time to time. But what's great about this set, what I really appreciate about it, is the fact you can open up the cabin and inside you've got a little Troy Tempest sitting there at the controls. Now, of course, proper Stingray has 2 seats next to each other. I think it's fairly obvious why they only went for the 1 seat. It would have been far too wide if they had tried to fit 2 of these figures in. And of course, these minifigures are compatible with the Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet sort of large play sets that came out around about the same time. This is the only Stingray one that they ever did, so we just have Troy Tempest here, but I have to say he looks fantastic. I think they've done a great job at replicating the uniform at such a tiny, tiny little size. I think the face sculpt is great. He really looks the part. So that's really good. The control cabin itself, given the fact that this is a much simpler, much more pared down version of the Stingray control cabin, I think still looks good. The steering wheel is still recognizable as a Stingray control wheel. The seat also, I think, looks a lot like, the sort of chair that Troy actually would have sat in, and you've got some sort of details of like controls and buttons and things like that have been molded in there, so I think overall that looks really good. Obviously on other Vivid Imagination sort of larger playsets they used a lot of stickers to do the detailing, but because this thing is submerged in water, they don't have any stickers, so that makes sense. That seems quite sensible to me. The other thing that this thing is lacking compared to other maybe Vivid Imaginations playsets is obviously there is no sound tech feature. There are no electronic features of any kind in this thing for reasons that should be pretty obvious. I don't think I really need to explain why that would have been a bad idea to put electronic components into children's baths. But yeah, I mean, it more than makes up for it by having the wind-up mechanism and the firing missiles and the detailed interior. I think that is more than enough for a good Stingray toy. Overall, I really, really like this thing. It's fantastic. As I say, it doesn't go in water very much now these days, but I put it on my shelf and it looks really, really nice. Shall we send it on another voyage? Why not? Maybe another couple of voyages. Let's see what we can do here. It's, as I say, the mechanism is very... It wants to very much just do its own thing. After all these years, I have to say, if you had one of these, packaged up with, that's never touched the water before, then, lucky you. But I have to say, there's something about that. There's something about that, having it go along in the water, that is just so... It feels so important that it does that. I really, really like it. I think it just makes it that little bit extra special. I mean, just the fact that it floats already is kind of a nice feature, but the fact that it goes along water as well is just great. Problem is, by the time I get it in the water, it's already done so many spins. I wanted to do this in a circular water container so that it would just go around in circles, but I didn't have one that was big enough. So you'll just have to make do with this. But yeah, there we go. That is the Vivid Imagination Stingray playset from the early 2000s. It's a lovely little thing, I would say. If you can get one of these, you know, packaged up. I think it came in a sort of window packaging on just a cardboard, you know, backing. You know, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But yeah, really, really lovely thing. So do try and track one down if you can. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments down below. I did another video, another Security Hazard Mini, talking about the Matchbox Stingray toy line, including that Stingray playset, so do go and take a look at that as well. But otherwise, subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, but also for our podcast, The Security Hazard Show, where we talk about all things Jerry Anderson. And you can also find more by heading over to patreon.com/securityhazard. You can help support me, you know, making these videos, which I really, really do love doing. So any little contribution that you can help, you know, to make this all run a little bit smoother, that would be very much appreciated. Patreon.com/securityhazard, and you can get access to exclusive videos and podcasts and stuff that you won't find anywhere else. But otherwise, thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, PWOR.
Security hazard negative.